Hi, everybody. Ron Placone here. You're watching another summary of the Indie Bohemians morning show. This morning, we talked about a couple different things. We talked about Shark Week. We talked about Tony Stewart and the NASCAR incident. And the other thing we talked about that also is kind of in line with something that's not very happy is the Michael Brown shooting. Michael Brown was an unarmed teenager who was shot and killed by police just outside of St. Louis. And there's still a ton of unanswered questions in this story so far. So really, we're watching it unfold. But there was an altercation. There was allegedly there was another person involved too, and how it started, why police stopped this kid in the first place. I don't think we really know that yet. But allegedly, Michael Brown put his hands in the air. He put his hands on the air and said, "Don't shoot me," and the cop continued to shoot him. And he was shot multiple times. And like I said, I mean, we're still waiting for stuff to come to the surface here. I think we only know so much. But your first reaction, my first reaction was, what? How does something like this happen? What do you mean an unarmed kid? 18 years old, the kid is about to go off to college, was about to go off to college, just shot and killed in the street like that. And there's still so much stuff we don't know. I mean, the officer involved with this was put on leave. He's put on paid leave. He's still being paid. And there's been a lot of protests. Some have been nonviolent protests. Others have not been as, I mean, you know, there was some burning going on to I believe a gas station, and so there has been some stuff going on. And the family of Michael Brown does not endorse the violent protests. They do endorse the nonviolent protests, to my understanding, and the vigils and so forth. But they say that, you know, the violent protest is not going to help Michael or bring justice to him. And it's certainly not going to bring him back. Because, I mean, really, you know, even though we want to know what happened, we want to figure out what went on here, no matter what, it's not going to bring him back. And that's the biggest tragedy here. An 18-year-old kid who was about to go into college. That's one of the most exciting summers of your life, really. That summer in between high school and college, I feel like, where, I mean, I remember that summer. I remember how excited I was just at this idea of new beginnings and of kind of being on your own for the first time, and of such a big wide world that was going to be open to you. And I can't even imagine just life being cut short like that, when in so many ways it's just starting. And wow, I mean, like I said, like, we're still waiting for so much to unfold, that there's only so much we know. But the one thing that you can't help but think about, you know, the incident recently where the gentleman was put in a chokehold by police and he died. That was recently declared a homicide. That was the incident in New York City. I can't help think about Jordan Miles in Pittsburgh. That was a guy, kid was just walking down the street, had an incident with cop. They beat the heck out of him. They pulled his hair out of his head. And there was, in my opinion, no justice with that one. And now, of course, this police force is saying, well, we're going to conduct our own investigation. The NAACP is calling for the FBI to be involved in the investigation to preserve the integrity of it, which I think is very fair. Of course, there should be a third party involved in this investigation. Police can't just conduct their own investigation into this. That's ridiculous, because we need to know what really happened here. And you can't help think, when you bring up police brutality in the United States, automatically people get turned off. That's a buzzword that's not okay to say, because people think like, oh, you're anti-law enforcement. And it's like, no, 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 no. You can say police brutality is an issue and not be anti-law. You're just saying, hey, I understand law enforcement is a very dangerous job. I understand these people risk their lives every day. But you know what? Let's not turn a blind eye to the fact that sometimes power is abused. And when it is, there needs to be consequences. There needs to be justice. There needs to be answers. And, I hope we get that here. But, gee, not a very good track record, not a very good track record in our populace. And, I know in Germany, they use one of the concentration camps. I forget which one off the top of my head, but they actually train police at one of the old concentration camp sites. And the reason they do that is because they say, we want you guys to know that there are consequences when you abuse your power. And look at this. Look at what happened here. This is what happens when you abuse your power. I'm not saying that all police officers need to be trained at a concentration camp. That's not what I'm implying by any means. I'm just saying that, you see how that's, I mean, first of all, from Germany's standpoint, that's a way of really, making the most out of, a place where horrific things happen. You're still kind of utilizing that space. And I think it sends a message saying don't abuse your power. And that's really, when it comes to police brutality, that's the issue here. And was this a situation where deadly force was necessary at all? And it seems like from every account we have so far, deadly force was not at all necessary in this case. I mean, we don't even know what exactly happened, but what we can speculate, the account so far, that this kid's hands were in the air. And he was continuing. They kept shooting him. An officer kept shooting him. And this is just disturbing on so many levels, scary on so many levels, and it bleeds into so many other issues. Why were they stopped in the first place? So many unanswered questions, but at the end of the day, this kid lost his life, and it's I'm at a loss for words, and I think a lot of people are, because I mean, all you can say so far is this happened, this is terrible, we're trying to wait and see what happens. I don't encourage anybody to resort to violent protest. I think nonviolent is the way to go. I don't think that looting or anything like that is going to help. And this is just heavy. And I feel bad that today's summary is a very dark one, but this was a very horrible thing that happened, and we knew we needed to talk about it. You can't sit on something like that. You need to talk about it right away. And on a lighter note, we also had Cenk Uygur was an interview today, and unfortunately you have to check out the podcast to hear the interview with Cenk Uygur. So if you want to check that out, we interviewed Cenk from the Young Turks, and of course I am part of the TYT network here on YouTube, so feel free to check that interview out. It was a very nice interview, but yeah, I guess right now, and that's why I have this how to respond, because I think that's a question that I don't really know the answer to right now. I don't know what all happened here. I don't know what all occurred, and I think we're still waiting for more to come to the surface. So pretty sad and heavy one today, guys. But sometimes that's what the world throws at you. So our thoughts and best wishes go out to Michael Brown's family, and we'll wait and see this unfold and see how this continues to manifest itself as more information comes to the surface. But you've been watching another summary from the Indie Bohemians Morning Show, and this is Ron Placone signing out.